So welcome to part 5 of Get Out of Your Own Way. Tonight we're going to play with fire. um, this has all been about figuring out ways to be kind to yourself instead of the usual, I want to get rid of that part, even though that is the title. But the way to get rid of things is to help them transform. So whether that's negative thoughts or habits, or just find yourself repeating something in relationship, like caretaking or automatic yes button, then this is the place for you. But please do feel free to take a moment and either ragdoll dance or do a couple yoga poses, whatever helps you settle into this space. Perhaps some smudge or essential oil, but lighting just right. So whatever you need for this space. And some people like to set an altar, like to have an object that helps them focus. None of that's necessary, just come as you are. But if those things help you, then those can become tools. And give yourself a moment to also notice that across time space, like you're not alone in wanting to consciously evolve. You're not alone in showing up. Not only this program, but there's lots of programs around the world right now where people are craving, like, I want to get away from the ruts. I want more for my life. There's got to be something more than the mainstream or what I have fallen into. And you can find each other, right, by just even kind of broadcasting your energy that those are your people. And so just give yourself a moment to heart connect with any others. Good. Okay. So just kind of settling in and then holding space for, what does my soul want from me today? What is my heart's desire? And maybe you've already set your intention, but I like to go broad as well. So just getting a sense of what you want from yourself in general, but maybe you already thought of it ahead of time, and just let whatever surfaces. Okay? And tonight we're going to do the same 5 steps that we've been doing, but our place of play is going to be fire instead. And the goal is that this allows you to try out different flavors, that maybe you want to do all different ones and that's your personality style. But I find that most people, they find their flow with something and then that's what they stick to. And so feel free to just experiment with each of these, and then the one that you find becomes your anchor. And then you don't even have to think of the whole thing. You can just integrate it into your day, where it might be a couple minute check, just taking in some breaths and bringing in the energy that shows up for you tonight. And each time you shift your energy, it's like putting yourself on a different channel. Then that allows the transformation of those old patterns. And so just fitting this into a bigger picture model is that I find for us to really transform, to really feel like it's a full body experience, there's a few different pieces. And one is clearing the old in many different ways. This is one exercise to do it. But it also includes getting more clear about, like, then what? Then who am I, or how am I supposed to live my life? What is aligned with my true nature? And so oftentimes there's a journey around, who am I besides this human robot? Sometimes it feels that extreme of how I got programmed. And so please give yourself that grace, that maybe that means taking some of the free assessments online, or asking your friends, hey, what 5 adjectives would you use to describe me? And then while you get to know yourself more, I think learning better boundaries. So just letting yourself have the grace that it's a process, right? These are all different pieces of a process. So, okay, landing in for tonight, just noticing what your intention is. And if nothing has come to you yet and you just happen to stumble upon this, then there's some suggestions. Perhaps you have a unending list. It can feel like that at first. As a therapist, I think I so value personal growth. And for a while, I just felt like and when I get done with that, I'll do this next thing and this next thing. And I promise you that eventually that list does get much shorter and you get quicker at taking care of yourself. As a matter of fact, there can even be a phase of like, oh, I noticed this thing about me. Oh, I could clear that out and I'll feel even more free. You start to notice how just how much vitality comes with living more of your true nature. It's pretty cool. Okay. So now that you have your intention, bring to mind the part of you that sabotages that intention. Another way of saying that is, because your intention might be, I want to feel more peace or I want to be more confident. What gets in the way of that? And it might be, I just go flat or my mind goes blank. You may not even know it as a part of yourself, and that's okay. So start to get curious and notice how this part shows up in your life. See home movies. And if you've done this several times before, try to have a beginner's mind. Like, oh, I wonder what I'll see this time. I wonder how I'll feel towards this part this time. So notice any judgments or assessments you have of this part. And you don't have to come up with any conclusions. Just notice what's come so far. And no right or wrong. Just see what comes. And now it's time to get in their shoes. So embody the energy of the vulnerable part. It's okay to leave a watcher, particularly if there's other people in your house or you live somewhere you hear other noises. You don't have to fully engage this part, but just allow some part of you to take on this role. And I think you get more from it when you like really accentuate it, right? Like if this one is a perfectionist or everything has to be clean, then put on the white gloves and really ham it up. Really allow yourself to engage. If it's a bitchy, crabby part, then, make that face that goes with it and be tight in the body. And you could even get up and move around as if this part does. If it's ungrounded, then get up and flutter, or at least imagine yourself doing that. And keep your curiosity. Okay? Because as you embody this part, softly, not from a mind pursuit, but softly, you're going to notice, what's it trying to gain? What is this all for? And that's not meant to be a rhetorical question. Like, I get that this part sabotages you, so it's easy right now to say, well, it's not helpful. That's why I want to get rid of it. But see if you can really be in the mindset of this one. Well, I just need to stay busy. I don't want to sit down. There's too much to do. Just stay curious and stay in that mode. And whether you hear it or you just continue to feel it, I just want to get everything done. Or I just want everybody to be happy. Or I just want to feel peace before I sit down and calm down. So whatever's come, then say, and I want this so that. And everything that you come up with, keep saying, so that. I just want everybody to be happy, so that we can all just be peaceful, so that I don't have to be in the middle of everything, so that then I won't feel responsible, so that keep going. So that what will you get to experience within yourself? So eventually it'll land on an I statement so that and maybe at first it's only actions, right? So then I don't have anybody more to take care of. So that then I can get some time to myself so that I can feel good enough. Ooh, now we're talking sense of self. Or then I know I matter, or my needs matter too. Now we're talking sense of self. So that I can feel worthwhile and deserving. That's a sense of self. Okay, so you stay in the role and you try to hear or feel, however it comes for you, what this one is doing all this for. It's the hoped for outcome. And it's not necessarily going to be rational because there could be another part of you that says, yeah, but by taking care of everybody else, then they all expect me to stay responsible for things. And then they bitch and whine when I'm not doing it. And then that, I feel guilty. And then that keeps me hooked in this cycle. So it's not meant to be rational. Somewhere along the way, this part started this habit, and you wouldn't have gotten in such a rut of doing this habit if it didn't work, at least in a facade, meaning it could have at least given you the perception of control. Like maybe you grew up in a super chaotic household, and by being super responsible, it gave you the perception that if you could just figure it out, if you could just get everything taken care of, or if you could just be a step ahead of everybody and know when they were going to blow, that you could somehow prevent it. But chances are, if you got in this habit, it didn't work the first time. You were doing it over and over and over again, and it didn't really control your environment. But hey, it maybe made you feel a little bit better at the time. And that's the best you could do. And that's why I use the word child soldiers with these parts. They will give up their life. They will give up their playtime or saying things that they wanted to make sure everything out there is taken care of, because the perception is that that will somehow make things better. And because these patterns start so early in life, we just continue them in adulthood. And I've had so many people come to me and say, yeah, but it must be true that I'm not likable because I have no friends. But then we dive in a little deeper. Oh, okay, well, I have no friends because I don't feel worthy of friends. And then I hang out with people who don't treat me well, but I don't know the difference. And so I don't have boundaries, or I don't know who I am to attract the right kind of people. It's a vicious cycle. So whatever has come in terms of knowing, what am I hoping for when I do that? Even if I don't get it, what's the hoped for outcome? Make note of that, because we're going to come back to that a little later. And keeping in mind that this part is like a child soldier, it's time to bring in some support. And it's hard to do it yourself. There's a part of you that doesn't like this part. And so you don't have to use yourself. If your adult self feels willing to nurture this young one, then go right ahead. And I say young one because it acts younger, but this is the web of light we've talked about in other sessions. It's just whatever you can draw upon that brings you some resourcing. Like maybe it's an imaginary grandma who just loves you no matter what. So just starting with the web of light to have some kind of kindness towards this part of self. Okay. And the way that we break this habit or pattern in the brain is to bring in new experiences. So I'm going to invite you on a journey now where this part has to go with you because you two share the same body. So I'm going to invite you now to hold space for your intention. but maybe to put it down on the table. Just let it be over there. And instead, allow your more of your focus to begin to walk in the woods. And you can adapt this however you need. Maybe you have a bodyguard or a dog or a pet cougar, whatever needs to be there for you to feel safe. But imagine yourself in the woods. Smell the air. Feel your feet. Feel your pace. And adjust those to whatever feels right for you right now. Just frolicking in the forest until you come across an animal trail that you have a bit of curiosity about. And you look down a little more, and there's a deer that looks up at you. And just allowing your imagination to carry you, because that deer looks at you and then gestures like, follow me. And you let your curiosity just go along. Down the animal trail now, through some brush. You smell the plants. Until you reach a meadow, an opening. And when you get there, the deer just begins grazing. And as you look around, you notice the grand tree in the middle of the meadow. And you begin to walk toward it. It's just got that magnetism. You let yourself be in awe of it. And you've seen big trees before, but there's something different about this one. You can feel it, but it's warm, like heartwarming. There's a familiarity about it, like, hey, friend. Or that feeling when you're around people that you just really jive with. And as you come closer to the tree, you feel the urge to reach out to it and you touch it, but you notice that it's not hard. Your hand goes right through it. It's translucent, like a mirage. And then you're really excited. You're like, whew, I wonder what this is. And you allow yourself to step inside. You step through the portal into the healing space. It's a higher vibration just on the other side. And when you step into this side, it's also nature, but it feels more alive. And your senses now are heightened. And you look around and take it in. And there's a glow off to the side. You're like, what is that? And you let yourself move towards it. And as you come closer, you notice the light is flickering. It's from a fire. And as you approach, you see an elder sitting at the fire. It's very grounded, calm, but you sense them with your sixth sense that can sometimes be hypervigilant, but serves you in cases like this where you're using your intuition to sense them. When you get a few feet away, the elder looks up at you and looks at the seat next to you. You have been invited to join. And you just take a moment to settle into this spot. And you're just staring into the fire, just chilling. All that exists is this moment now. And eventually the elder takes a bigger breath and begins to speak. Anyone who has fought their way out of hell, anyone who has learned to focus on the pinhole of light when they're in darkness, has a fire in their belly that feeds their life force. And like attracts like. So just like when you put two candles together, becomes brighter and stronger. That fire in your belly is how you will find kin, right? How you will find people who resonate with you, who also want to learn to evolve with more fire in their belly. And when you contemplate that, you look up and you notice that others have joined around the fire. And these aren't your usual helpers. They are others who have come to support you. And just giving yourself a moment to look around and notice if any of them have something they want you to know. And otherwise, you can just enjoy that you belong here because you have fire in your belly, just like them. And then the elder begins to speak again, and all gets quiet and everybody pays attention. The elder says, "It is time. I have invited two helpers for you. We heard your intention. And I have invited a healing ancestor from the past. These are not necessarily your ancestors, but he assures you that your ancestors have been processed, meaning when they left their human body, they went back into spirit form and they had their life review. And then they had a learning, a process of being schooled and mentored so that they could evolve and finish the lessons that they came here for that they weren't able to complete. It's a bit incomprehensible to us because we're not in that spirit form. And so the elder continues, I have invited a healing ancestor from the past, and I have invited a healing ancestor from the future. And as he's saying that, they show up. So you turn toward the elder of the past and you lock eyes and you feel it. You feel them see right through you. They know you. They recognize your spirit. And they can see your inner flame. And they don't judge, but they are assessing, meaning if your flame is a bit dim, they can help gift you some more light to help you turn that up. If the fire is raging, Maybe there's lots of anger, right? And it's really raging. They can help you clean it up, make it a higher vibration, and channel that energy. Not shut it down, but channel it in a way that becomes life force for you. And as the elder comes closer, they open their palms and they channel the energy of this divine love and light directly into your heart. And it's going to overflow your heart, just as flame does. If you were in a closet and you lit a candle, that ball of light is going to expand. So as it comes into your heart, it's going to expand through your body. Allow yourself to receive the amount for you. This is the gift from the past, from those who have been processed. They want to share that rise in vibration. And when it's time, the elder brings their hands together at their heart and bows to you, honoring you. And you listen intently to notice if there's anything they want you to know before they leave. And you make your gesture of gratitude, whether through words or gesture, as they step away from the fire. And you look around at the others who are there, and you just notice their expressions after witnessing the gift you just received. And you take a moment to just feel that in your body. And on your next breath, you turn and you see that the healing ancestor of the future is approaching you now. And again, you feel that familiar locking eyes and feeling the light and love coming from them. And that they see right through you, they feel you. They too know you because what you vibrated out, what you broadcasted in your lifetime has trickled down to them. Whether you have actual children or not, your vibration rippled out and it carried on down through the ages. And they have worked hard on healing themselves and embracing healing energies. And they want nothing more to continue to bring healing in their era. But they have come to you today with a particular message. As they look right into your eyes, telepathically and through a felt sense, they're going to show you the impact you have had, that they felt ripple out. The essence of your heart, the essence of the truth of who you are. They are going to reflect back what they felt And as they reflect it, you are going to feel in your body how others have felt around you because of you. And they bring this gift to you because they want your light to stay bright. They want you to know that they wish for you to not dim your light because of the impact you have had. They carry the energy of the collective, whether that be a baseball team you coached or a workplace environment or children in your neighborhood. They're going to send back to you the vibration of what those people, those children felt in your presence. And their message to you is to be you, be your true nature, because it's having an impact. And as you receive this, you do your best to stay open to receiving. If there's anything else they want you to know before they go. And when it feels done, give your thanks and just let the residual be in your body. Notice the sensations. Notice that fire in your belly. You might feel a little breathless. Just allow yourself to return to your seat at the fire and rest here as long as you'd like. And those around the fire have witnessed, they felt it too. And the elder lets you know that anytime you need a reminder, they all witnessed it. You can come visit them. Anytime that your light feels like it's getting more dim, they're here to help amplify you. It's their only job. They just sit around waiting. They're happy to serve. The elder lets you know that it's time to go now. And your brain may feel scattered, and that's okay. Thinking mind loves to have things figured out and sorted, written down. But notice the elder purposely said this because it serves you to just be with. Just let this simmer and be in your body. There's nothing you have to figure out or write a dissertation about. Just be with this energy as you stand up and either her hands bow, make some kind of gesture to the fire, to those there, and begin to walk towards the tree, that portal. And perhaps once again, turning and looking at the fire before you step out of the tree, back out into the meadow. Where your friend the deer greets you and again gestures for you to follow. Because the deer knows where that animal trail is to lead you back to where you came in the forest. And you don't have to race off like Cinderella. You can just walk as fast as you can stay present, feeling each step. Perhaps wondering what all this was for. But perhaps another part of you can just trust that it's all part of the process. It's all part of mentoring those vulnerable parts of you, showing them something other than what existed when they became a rut or a pattern, showing them that it's different now, that you have different resources now. And you get to take your time to let it unfold how you will use this resource. So as you're following the deer back down the animal trail, it comes to you again that there was this vulnerable part that wanted something, wanted some kind of positive outcome, to feel good enough or to feel like you matter. I feel like it's okay to take time for yourself. Whatever you came up with earlier, just allow that to come to mind again. And now you get to hold space for, how can that fire in my belly, how can feeling the ripple effect of my presence in the world, how can the gifts of the energy I received from the healing ancestor from the past, how can that help me evolve? How can that help me get that positive outcome I was looking for with that negative thought or pattern I do? And for some of you, it'll just be an aha, some really concrete thing will come. But for most people, it'll be more like when you go to bed tonight, just letting yourself rest with and hold space for fire. How can you help me? How can just being with the fire or becoming the fire or remembering the fire help evolve and nurture this vulnerable part of self? So not having to have it figured out, just gently holding space. And in the right time, your revelations will come. So we have spent the last 5 weeks first with the web of light, and then earth, air, water, and now fire as ways to resource yourself, as ways to, in a way, break the habit to have new energy along this road that is a rut for you. When we bring in something new, your brain will link this new information with that experience, and it changes the neural pathway. And that's what then starts to change that habit, that old pattern that doesn't work for you. So the shortcut version is to bring to mind any of the gifts that you have gotten from any of these, like something that felt like a big aha or a raise in your vibration or an opening in your heart. And remember that whenever that thought pattern or that urge, that familiar body sensation, like, being all uptight or mosh pit in your head comes, As soon as you start to feel that, then bring up and connect with, whether it's the fire or the mountain or being in the water. And that changes that old habit. If you feel like you would like more, then feel free to contact me. And maybe there's a deeper level of work needed. But also, if you do this repeatedly, things will shift. And if you feel like you want support around boundaries, if you don't feel like that's a strength for you, the upcoming course, it'll probably come out next week, but the upcoming course is able to be done in about 15 minutes a day. Just a little tidbit, something to consider, and then a practice, and really hands-on to help you make a change, not just talk about it. Similar to these sessions have been not meant to talk about or understand, but more, what do I do about that? So if you've enjoyed these, feel free to contact me through the website and share any of your experience or ask questions about the process. Thanks for showing up.